Hey there, this is Selena, and this is Closet Conference. Even though right now I am not in my closet, I am sitting outside and enjoying the weather. Anyway, I made this podcast because I want to talk about the traumas and the healing. I want to talk about disabilities and how to overcome them, and just life in general. Right now in my life, I am coming to a point where I am discovering who I am without the opinions of others, and more so, trying to discover myself in my own opinion of myself. I was raised not so enjoyable. It's been hell on earth for me for most of my life. A lot to do with people who just don't listen or silenced me. If I told my truth, I was called a liar. So since I have been more self-aware, I try to tell my truth to anyone who would listen. Now it's been brought to my attention that when I do tell my truth, a lot of people get me. They tell me that my words really open their eyes and that they feel heard and understood. And that's the audience that I'm trying to reach. The broken. The ones that feel like they will always be broken. The ones that feel like I'm broken, but I'm okay. I learn how to heal the broken. But just like a broken plate, you can shatter it. You'll never be able to piece it back together and make it whole again. You will still see the cracks that broke. I made this podcast for people like me. Now to my ladies, if you grew up like me, it might be a little hard for you to figure out who you are. Or some of you probably have figured out who you are already and you're just trying to navigate, or maybe you chose who you want to be. Like for me, I recently started therapy because I have come to terms with, I don't really know who I am. And I know that may sound weird to a lot of people. How do you not know who you are? Me being 29 years old and still trying to figure out who I am is a bit embarrassing. But I grew up around a lot of hellish activity. I never really grew up a girly girl. I tried to be, but it really didn't work out that way. Whenever I would want to do my makeup or do my hair, I remember at 13 years old, I was in the bathroom wanting to straighten my hair by myself for the first time. And I was told that I was primping and that they didn't know why I was trying to make myself look good for the little boys in town, and that I was just gonna be a whore. And after that, I pretty much told myself, well, I can't make myself look pretty, because if I do, then that means I'm trying to seek attention from men, not because I was a teenage girl trying to enhance my beauty or play around with what I thought was beauty. If I wanted to make myself look pretty and do girly things, I was attention seeking from my family. It's what they said. As I got older, I wanted to do cheerleading, but my family thought that it would be more fitting for me to do boyish things like playing football or learning karate or learning how to fight, because that's what my family done. They fight a lot, not only with other people, but with our own family. So I learned growing up that fighting was okay, that arguing was okay, that yelling was okay, because that's what I was used to. Anyway, now that I am in my grown woman era and I am trying to figure out who I am without all of the toxicity, I've come to realize that you don't have to yell to be heard. In fact, yelling, trying to be heard, makes you not heard at all. No one hears someone who is belligerent. They hear the yelling, absolutely, but they don't hear the point. They don't hear what you're trying to convey to them. Arguing just shows that you're very defensive and it does nothing. But actually hearing what the other person is saying and choosing to respond, not from your feelings, but responding in a way that you would want to be responded to. See, when you grow up like me, or if you have grown up like me, communication was non-existent. You were told to shut up. Don't say nothing. You speak, you're talking back. I was not allowed to express myself. Evidently, that was wrong. Now, as I'm older and I have kids of my own, I have seen a trait that I don't like too much. Either way, hopefully you find some type of enjoyment out of listening to me. Have you ever been silenced about who you are, is the question. For me as a woman, I just turned 29. Happy birthday to me. But I just turned 29, and I have realized that the way I grew up and the way that I was pushed around and silenced as a child really made me think about who I am. And I realized that I was not as feminine as I wanted to be or want to be. I am not in control. I am very insecure and trying to figure out how to find that stability in myself and that security in myself. I want to be so in love with myself that everyone around me has no choice but to be in love with me too. Because that's where it all is, love. If you love yourself, there's no one in this world that can make you think anything about yourself. You know, I was silenced and beat into my brain so much as a child that I wasn't pretty, that I was full of myself, that I wasn't good enough. And I believe that. You know, whatever you're told as a child, you believe that growing up. And I was told differently from other people. Oh, that's not true. Don't believe them. You're not going to be just like your mom. You're not going to be full of yourself and conceited. You're not going to be, you know, a whore, things like that. And now that I am older, and I know that I'm not the things that the people say about me. And I know that the things they said about me were lies, but yet I still live life like I believe them. I look for validation in the pictures that I post, or I constantly have to ask Derek, my partner, I have to ask him, am I pretty? Or am I pretty today? Me on my weight loss journey, I have to say, do I feel skinnier today? Do I look skinnier today? And if I had that self-validation and that self-worth, I wouldn't need to get it from anyone else. But the question is, how do I do that? How do I build myself up? Well, the way that I've been doing it, and I'm far from finished, but I've been going to therapy. I've been trying to talk about my biggest downfalls in life and my biggest flaws, which I would say is my anger and controlling my emotions. You know, you grow up an angry child that is suppressed and invalidated your entire childhood. When you grow up and get an adult, you push. You're not going to settle for anything. You're not going to put up with anything. And so here I am today making that choice to finally learn how to cope with my emotions and learn what my emotions are trying to tell me, because your body knows. Your body very well knows. Your body will tell you things that your brain won't. You know, another thing that I've been doing to find my self-worth and self-validation is I'm gonna get up and I'm going to do my makeup and I'm going to do my hair and I'm going to invest in me. And what does investing in me look like? Because, investing in me means doing things that make me happy, regardless of what other people believe or think. Like for myself, I believe that financially you should be stable. Financially, you should be, saving money, putting money back, paying off your debts, doing the things that you were supposed to do as an adult, fixing your childhood mistakes or your teenage mistakes. For me, I got a lot of debt very quickly before I became even 25 years old. I had a lot of debt from stupid mistakes as being having a teenage mind in my early 20s. Because I didn't get to have a childhood, so my adult life started at 17. I was in my own apartment, making my own money right after I graduated high school. But that became only after the fact that I was homeless and sleeping on my couch in my brother's studio apartment, which means I was also sleeping in the kitchen. I was homeless. I had no money. I had nowhere to go. I had to start life way sooner than a lot of people. I ended up getting my first job and I stuck with it. I worked hard. I did what I was supposed to do. I got my apartment. I lived on my own. But living on your own and making adult decisions also comes with consequences, and adult consequences at that. I ended up pregnant at 19. I had my son at 20, still living on my own. I ended up having to move in with my brother because I couldn't work after I had my child. A single mom, didn't have anyone to rely on. I was alone in the world. And even though I live with my brother, I still felt alone in the world. I knew that I was living there, but I didn't feel wanted there. I was always looked at like I'll never do anything with my life. Because that was beat into my brain, I believed it, and so I did nothing to try to change that. But now I am making that decision. So me making that decision on trying to learn myself and learn how to be an adult, learn how to be more open with my opinions of myself and learn how to self-invest. Wow. The biggest thing for me though is that I have read several, and when I mean several, I've read at least 4 or 5 self-growth books in the last month. And right now I am reading a book called Let Them, and it is by Mel Robbins. And this book explains me to a T. I mean, it is the most greatest book. If you haven't read it, go read it, for sure. This book has really opened up my eyes about how I control my anger and how I control myself when something I don't like bothers me. Instead of me freaking out and blowing up about it, for instance, if my boyfriend is on an attitude spree and he's not wanting to be bothered and I'm being extra clingy that day, I might get irritated at the fact that he doesn't want to be bothered with me, or he has an attitude if he has to talk to me, or whatever the case may be. My main thought would go straight to rejection. I feel rejected by him because he doesn't want to talk to me, he doesn't want to be around me, he doesn't want to spend time with me, and I don't know why. And then I run from feeling rejected to being angry because I'm being rejected, because why are you rejecting me when I did nothing wrong? I didn't do anything to you, so why are you being this way? And just to clear the air, hypothetical situation, but I would get angry because why am I being rejected, and I would go out there and I'd be yelling and I would immediately go to having an attitude like, why are you being distant? Why are you having an attitude? Why are you doing this? Like, I didn't do anything to you. Why are you doing this? And of course, they're going to be, I don't have an attitude. I didn't say anything to you. I didn't do anything. But, I'm the type of person that's very empathetic. And I can feel when someone's energy changes toward me. I can feel when someone is just having doing their own thing, and I can feel the tension behind it whenever there is something wrong, or it may not even be wrong, but just not wanting to be bothered. And then that makes me question, did I do something wrong? Because, me growing up the way that I did, if my parents or if something was going on and I would feel that tension in the air, I would immediately think I did something wrong or that they don't want to be around me. And 90% of the time, that was the case. So now I'm bringing that trauma into my adulthood, and I'm angry about it because I didn't get to yell at my parents and say, well, I didn't do anything. Why are you being mean to me? Or what have I done? I'm just a kid. How could you be angry at me that much over nothing? Or if you didn't want me, why do you have me? There's things that I wish I could have said that I never got a chance to. So me being an adult, I feel like I have that voice now where I can be confrontational and ask them, what did I do? Why are you angry at me? And so now I really see that those type of situations stresses me out, and I don't have to be stressed out. And just like the book Let Them says, just let them. If he is in one of his moods, don't take it personal. Let him be in one of his moods. Let him be off by himself. Let him do whatever he wants to do. Don't force him to be around you if he doesn't want to be around you, especially given the fact that me and my boyfriend, we're around each other 24/7. Never away. I work from home. He's at home, There's hardly ever any separation, and there's days that we just need to be apart, just to be apart, just to be alone. But I love him. He's my best friend. I swear he is. But just learning how to navigate through life, even though you've had all this trauma and the things that you go through, it's definitely a work in progress. But that's why I'm here. That's why I'm making this podcast, because if you're like me, then I want to be the voice for you. The ones who never got a chance to speak up for themselves, and the ones that are lost today. Whether you have turned to drugs or alcohol or anything. Like for me, I turned to self-harming through tattoos. I turned to alcohol. I experienced severe anxiety and panic attacks every night. I have OCD. There's a lot of mental health that goes behind childhood trauma, and I got a book for that too. But that's why I'm making this podcast, because a lot of times we still go through life without addressing the fact that we were silenced as children. We were silenced through our trauma. But it's okay to find who you are now. And it's taken me 29 years, because I've been going through trauma since I was born, literally. But it's taken me 29 years to finally feel empowered. And maybe you're younger than me. Maybe you're older than me. It's never too soon and it's never too late to finally want to be heard, but the healthy way. If you are trying to learn how to re-regulate yourself, or if you are trying to learn how to regulate your emotions from childhood trauma, I definitely recommend the book called Re-Regulated, and it's by Anna Runkle. That really opened my eyes on a lot of things. It really showed me how to address certain situations and how to stop panic attacks and how to really just self-reflect on who you are and who your trauma is, and then learning how to separate the two. This is my very first recording and very first submission to this podcast, and there are many, many more. I want to bring you along on the story of me learning how to control my emotions, me learning how to find my own identity, and hopefully while I'm finding mine, you're finding yours. I'm excited to continue this journey, and I'm excited to share my story regardless of anything. Not really focus on anyone else's opinion other than my own at this point. I just really want you all to understand that it's never too late. And I do believe that 5 years from now, I will be the person that I want to be, or that I truly am. I won't be this angry, lashing out, obnoxious, loud person that I thought that I was. I am not going to be who trauma made me, but I'm going to find my own voice. And I hope that you listen to me, you hear me, and you find the power inside of you and the will to want to do better. And then whenever you want to do better, you do better, because you're worth it. You are not your trauma. You are not that anger. You are not broken beyond repair. You can heal, and you can learn to be who you want, really, not who your trauma is. You are not what happened to you. And I'm speaking out of experience as a woman who has been beaten, not only by my family, but by domestic violence in relationships, or sexual abuse, sexual assault, being shut down, being rejected. You are not any of those things. Those are things that happened to you and made you stronger. And yes, it broke you, but guess what? It's time to come back. It's time to fight for who you are and fight for the person you're supposed to be.
Recently, I was out and about with my family, and we were just casually walking, and we seen this guy walk up, and he starts talking to us, and I started to record him around this time. He said a poem to me, which I'm going to insert it here.
And look at me. I'm going to tell you a poem that I wrote to my ex-wife and my 2 daughters, who are the lights of my world. I'm a father, a dad, a loving, caring man. Beauty. They can't take that away from me. I hear it in my heart. It will always be everlasting in its own peculiar way. It's where I call home. I find hope in it every day. I find hope in you. You have a beautiful family. You're a fucking rock star.
And it really meant a lot to me, because I remembered to tell myself that I am a rock star. And I have gone through so much, and yet I'm still here and I'm still pushing, and that's what matters. Now that we have talked about that, I would like to talk about our disabilities. So I have been diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. I have arthritis up and down my spine from top to bottom, which caused me a significant amount of pain. Which really sucks for me because I'm only 29 years old, and it just sucks. Now, my significant other, he has a condition called RP, and it's retinitis pigmentosa, and it causes night blindness, sight limitations. So he is vision impaired, and he also has, he's hard of hearing, been that way since he was a child. So we both have shared a significant difference as far as being in a relationship and both having disabilities. Imagine he already can't see that well. And then he has to push me around in a wheelchair because I can't walk that well. But we make it work, and we share that together. And we both have struggled significantly up until this point, but we both make that a part of our lives, and we work with each other, and he understands me, I understand him. We work together to try to help each other. We were recently went to an art museum because I'm obsessed with art, and we went to this museum, and he couldn't see that well inside of the museum because it is significantly darker inside than it is outside, obviously. But we came up with a system where he holds his hand out and I move it in the direction that we need to go. I know, and if we can't do that, then I obviously assist by turning my wheels myself. I just recently started using a wheelchair, so it is, a learning process for me. Hopefully I won't continuously be inside of a wheelchair, trying to get things fixed. But it definitely works for us. We have our difficulties mentally when addressing disabilities like this, and it gets hard, especially considering that I don't want to be a burden on him. He doesn't want to be a burden on me, but it just works. Like, we work together as a team to make each other not feel burdened by each other. Not to mention, I do have severe anxiety. I do have OCD. So there's times, most nights, where I'm having full-blown panic attacks, and he has been there for me every step of the way. And he has taken time every night to make sure that my nightly routine goes exactly the way it should, so that I'm not having panic attacks and that I'm trying to get it under control before it happens. I still haven't figured out why I have panic attacks at night mostly, but I'm getting there. And I feel like the more that I am finding myself and the more that I'm figuring it out, they are starting to slowly fade away. And me getting myself together physically and, mentally, it's just following along with it. But I am very grateful for the fact that we are working together and dealing with life and dealing with each other's demons, and are still able to love and give love and share kindness and just be present for each other. So if you are a person that has a disability, limited mobility or limited vision, limited hearing, things like that, this is definitely an audience that we both can relate to. And there's going to be times where Derek is joining me and we are talking together and we are sharing our thoughts and expressing ourselves together on this podcast. And I look so forward to sharing that and just opening up to the public so that we know what you're going through. We know on every level, whether it's, just relationship issues or disability issues or childhood trauma or addiction issues or alcoholism. We know. We have been there. It's not just oh, I heard about this or we've talked about things like this before. No, we've lived things like this before. And I just cannot wait to do this journey with you all. I hope that you have listened and enjoyed and are excited to come along with me on this journey. And next time I'll get to introduce Derek or D, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, again, my name is Selena and this is Closet Confidence. Thanks guys. Love you. See you next time.